On the goal around to our right. Some empty spaces there across in the Cusack stand, but there is good Roscommon support here. And this is the Roscommon side announced on Wednesday night. 2 changes, much as expected from the Connacht final starting formation. Pádraig McNeill is back to anchor the half-back line, showing Joey Connaughton on the right and Paul Hickey on the left, while the wing forwards now include Vincent Glennon, surprisingly omitted from the outset against Galway. It's a side with a lot of height down through the centre of the field, and our match referee, who hasn't yet come out onto the field. Those are our 2 linesmen, Tony Marr and Peadar Whelan. Tony from Laois, Peadar from Wicklow. And there is the referee there, just on the left-hand side, the bespectacled figure of Damien Campbell, who refereed this year's Ulster final. This his first All-Ireland football, senior football semi-final. Paul Early going up with the toss there. That's Seamus Killoran, one of the 2 midfield stars, the 2 skyscrapers that Roscommon have in the middle of the field, John Newton and Seamus Killoran. Really is an industrious midfield player, an inspiring midfielder, gets in a lot of very good unselfish work, which you can be sure his colleagues well and truly appreciate. Certainly a player to look for. Larry Tompkins, the Cork captain, with Paul Early. The toss of the coin. Damien Campbell posing for the photographs. There's Tommy Lennon there, just doing some running repairs. Man who broke a leg in the Connacht final 2 years ago, but Tommy came back to claim 2 well-executed pointed frees in this year's Western Decider. Another member of the Clan Oil strength from Roscommon, the inimitable Tony McManus, a most able and effective craftsman, gifted with both feet, blessed with finishing prowess and an ideal temperament as well. Cork, by the way, won the toss. Mick Slocum here, wing back, celebrated a first full season with Cork last year by winning League, Munster and All-Ireland Championship medals. So the photographs have been taken. Some of them perhaps will be included in this year's All-Ireland final programme. Paul Staunton here, the goalkeeper, hoping that his photograph will be in that All-Ireland final programme, replacing the long-established Gay Sheeran between the posts for Roscommon this season. Very able custodian, as he showed us in this year's Connacht final against a youthful Galway team. Tony Davis back, having missed the Kerry match and automatic All-Star selection at the end of last year. Happy to win back his place, having missed the Munster final, as I say. There he is, with Frank Cogan, who's taken over the managerial responsibilities in place of Billy Morgan for this time. Colm O'Neill in the background, trying the frees. Pointed 8 of those in the Munster final, out of a tally of 11. This is the wing forward Vincent Glennon, a Sigerson Cup player with Maynooth College, and an inter-county player of great pace, productive forward as well, and a player who gets among the goals regularly. There's Paul McGrath, new number for him today, number 15. A player who's really blessed with a real predator's instinct, good tight control, good balance, and fine opportunism as well. And Paul Early, keeping the family tradition of the Earleys still very much involved in Roscommon football. He gives the side intelligent leadership from the fringe of the square, and in form he really is a richly talented footballer. Meanwhile, at the other end, it's Shay Fahy, the other number 14, moved to the fringe of the square in the latter stages of the league, where he scored something of the order of 5 goals and 7 points in 4 league matches. Quite a tally for a player who was a noted midfielder up to that point. We can expect him, I'd imagine, to interchange with Danny Cullity from time to time. So the parade about to get underway very shortly. Paul Early to lead Roscommon, Larry Tompkins to lead Cork. And leading us to a break very shortly, Michael Lester.
Yes, Jeremy, the point a moment ago that Roscommon have brought a big support here today. Cork not quite as much. Perhaps the Cork fans are waiting for the final. Perhaps they're making a mistake. Well, we're going to find out very shortly as the teams go for their parade. We go for a commercial break. Join us again in a few moments for the throw-in of the senior semi-final. The Roscommon team are in a huddle down there in the middle of the pitch. The Cork team have just finished their huddle over on the right-hand side, making those last-minute preparations for the big game. Val Daly, Roscommon go into this game as underdogs, but they've been in the Connacht final for the past 3 years. They're a good side. What chance Roscommon today?
I think Roscommon have a great chance today. They're fit, they're well prepared. They've done everything possible to be here today. They have their weight training done over them early on in the year. They have done a lot of serious preparation work. They didn't play well in Connacht, admittedly, but I'd be looking at them today for a really good game, and they're going to give it everything.
Where's their big strength today? Where are they going to win this match if they're going to win it?
If they're going to win this match today, their backs will have to be extremely tight on the Cork forwards. Their midfield will have to do as well as they did, as they have been doing for the couple of matches they've played, and their forwards will have to take every chance that presents itself.
Jack O'Shea, Cork are the All-Ireland champions. They're the Munster champions for the past 4 years. We know their strength. We know they're a good side. They have to be favourites today.
Yeah, they would have to be favourites, but as Val said, Roscommon have to come into this game very early on. Cork are the kind of team, if they get a good start, they'll dictate the game right the way they want it. As Val said, the Roscommon backs will have to be very tight. They can't afford to give away any frees with Larry Tompkins around. I think Larry Tompkins will hold the key. How are Roscommon going to play him? How will they approach him? He attacks the ball, he attacks the goal. When he goes forward, he's going to finish all the time. So they're going to have to watch that. And I feel that John Newton and Seamus Killorn have a lot of pressure on them to really dominate midfield. And if Roscommon can dominate midfield, I'll give them a good chance.
OK, Jack, well, Aaron Vane is coming up next, so let's go back to the Artane Boys band.
We ask all patrons to give a full anthem and due respect. Guided me along with you.
A huge roar of approval from the Cork and Roscommon fans. So the reigning All-Ireland champions Cork, Munster champions on 27 occasions, put their title on the line against Roscommon, who won the Connacht Championship for the 17th time last month. Roscommon has won the All-Ireland title twice in the era of Jimmy Murray of Knockgrockery, 1943 and 1944. Cork standing in their way, Cork bidding to reach the All-Ireland for the 4th successive year. Damien Campbell getting the first football semi-final underway, and it's Seamus Killorn playing for Roscommon, cut out easily by Conor Coonahan. Aiming across towards Paul McGrath. This is Gary Wynne getting up there quickly, winning the first ball coming his way. Joey Connaughton into space. Tony McManus trying to contain the pass, laying one inside for his club mate Tommy Lennon. An opening chance brilliantly created by Tony McManus. Cork grouping well, however, disciplined in defence, and something of a let-off in the opening minute. Well, there was a real scoring chance there surely for Roscommon. Fisted away by Gary Wynne. Tom Crahan, former Australian rules footballer. Only as far as Dave Barry. Danny Cullity here. His control just leaving him down. Paul Hickey. Killorn once again punting it forward. Paul Early coming way off the full forward position, playing more as a centre forward, and Tony McManus here is drifted into the centre. Tactics which they hope will confuse Cork. Free will have to be taken again. Tony is taking Tony Nation here, right in front of the centre of the Cork goal. And Paul Early, number 14, was going walkies for just a few minutes, hoping to take Niall Cahalane out of position. Tom Graham, the one who was lining up this free, 43 metres out. Well kicked, the opening score. Tommy Graham of St Aidan's getting the opening point of the match. All the attacking being done by Roscommon so far. Larry Tompkins fisting it down. Michael Slocum having to go back there, and Crehan was in quickly. A bit over-eager, however, and the referee signalling that it's a Cork free. An unfair challenge from behind on Michael Slocum. Cullity. Shea Fahy, again coming out of his full forward position, laid in for Paddy Hayes. This is Larry Tompkins, 14 metres out, brilliant save by Paul Staunton. A cracking shot by Larry Tompkins, Cork's first attack, but the goalkeeper Paul Staunton was more than a match for it. It was a very good build-up indeed. Paddy Hayes involved, Larry Tompkins as well, and the goalkeeper really producing a first-class save. Well, he certainly would be very pleased with that one, Paul Staunton, playing in his first All-Ireland football semi-final. Colm O'Neill, 11 points in the Munster final. This the game's first 45. It goes off the fingertips of Des Newton, I think, and it's gone over the bar. Des Newton, is that an OP, an own point? Well, Colm O'Neill, I think, will take the credit. Joey Connaughton reaching but fouled by Barry Coffey. This Cork side very familiar with Croke Park, almost as familiar with this pitch, I'd imagine, as their own Páirc Uí Chaoimh. It's their 12th major match here in the last 4 years. Paul Early knew he wasn't able to contain the pass. Mick Slocum linking up with Tony Nation. Oh, dangerously selling it short. Paul Early. Sides level, remember, a point apiece. Tommy Lennon kicking, but wide of the target. Ruefully shaking the head there, Tommy Lennon. But Roscommon producing a number of good switches, good interplay among the forwards, and they're trying to take the backs just out of position. So many people looking forward to the midfield battle, expecting some giant kicks into the centre of the field, but John Kearns with that particular kick out, trying to keep it well away from the middle. Seamus Killoran's kick. Breaks down to Niall Cahalane when two Cork defenders got in one another's way. Colm O'Neill against Des Newton. Jersey pulled. In towards Shea Fahy, touchdown. Paddy Hayes, awkward enough angle. Got a very good point in this year's Munster final. So it's still a point apiece. Meanwhile, across on the far side, I can tell you that Tony Nation is in some trouble. He collided with his own man in the last ball that came down that particular way on the field. He's received a quick bit of attention. He's back in the field once again. Paul Early is playing top of the left. Tony McManus is playing full forward. Meanwhile, Colm O'Neill. Cork presented with a gift chance. Dave Barry to avail of the opportunity, maybe. Gary Wynn. And towards Junior McManus, who had an absolutely brilliant Connacht final, in particular in the second half. Held. Going to take the free himself. Tommy Lennon. Touchdown towards John Newton. Junior McManus. Jersey pulled by Danny Cullity, tugged back, and the referee had signalled that it's going to be a free into Roscommon. Sides are level. Roscommon have been one of the sides this year to allow their forwards who are fouled to take the frees themselves from the hands. We saw good examples of that in the Connacht final. It touches the pole. Comes down to Conor Coonahan. Foul as he was taking it out. So the post coming to Cork's rescue. Roscommon, for my money, looking much more eager in the opening minutes of the game. Seamus Killoran. Des Newton. Conor Coonahan protesting that he was being fouled as he was reaching across for that one. Roscommon sideline ball. John Newton towards Paul Early. Nick Slocum intervening there for Cork. Coonahan. Shea Fahy. Out around wing forward now. Plenty of space inside. Larry Tompkins here. Seeking to get on the mark in this All-Ireland semi-final. Cork have gone in front. Larry Tompkins the scorer. 5 points for Larry in the Munster final this year. Really fine individual performance on that day. Just about 9 minutes gone in the first half. Tompkins once again. In towards Colm O'Neill. Cormac McNeil here. He's going to have an interesting tussle, I imagine, with Dave Barry this afternoon. Pat Dury with the free kick for Roscommon. Brilliantly taken by Paul Early. Transferred down to Seamus Killoran. Cut out, however, by Tony Nation. Prodded forward by Tommy Lennon to Tony McManus. A good ball by Tony McManus and a superb goal. But the referee has cancelled it out. No goal, says the referee. He took too many steps. The goal doesn't count, but a lovely piece of individual skill. Did he take more than 4 steps? The Roscommon fans, you can be sure, will not agree. Here's Tony McManus. Following the hop. Well, it's a marginal one if it was a case of taking 1 step too many. The injury across on the far side to the Roscommon defender brings Martin McDermott, the team manager, out. That amount of time gone in the first half. Well, that goal is bound to be a talking point. I must say, in other championship matches, one has seen players score goals, maybe take a step too many. But there wasn't too much in it between that first hop and the second. Seems to be Cormac McNeil, who's back on his feet again. Centre half back. So Roscommon doing so much of the pressing forward in these opening minutes. Cork leading by 2 points to 1. Some pushing by the Roscommon half forwards. Eight frees so far in this match. 5 for Roscommon. Correction, it's 9. 5 for Roscommon, 4 for Cork. Niall Cahalane. Kick easily cut out, however, towards Paul Early. A real business-like about this Roscommon team. Junior McManus. Back to Paul Early. Thought about having a pot. Under pressure from Conor Coonahan. All taken by John Kearns. Cahalane again. It's Porrick McNeil letting that one drop over his head, but Joey Connaughton goes back, makes the good recovery catch. Tony Davis. Shea Fahy. Good angled pass, diagonally across. Barry Coffey. Poor kick in the end, however. Des Newton having the time to go back and pick it up the second time. Vincent Glennon here, way back in his own half-back line. Tom Graham. Well read by Stephen O'Brien for Cork. Dave Barry. Showing his skills, keeping it in play, but Junior McManus was going back there. There's a real eagerness about Roscommon. Tommy Lennon can't contain the pass. That's Tony Nation. Here's Paddy Hayes. Barry Coffey taking it well. Under pressure. Plenty of people calling for it near. That was Danny Cullity. Cullity seems to have switched into the attack. Paul McGrath. Well, he spurns a good opportunity, a useful opening. Beautifully fetched in the air by John Newton. Vincent Glennon calling for it. Lob forward into space. Joey Connaughton. Tom Graham. Again, they tried to work it inside. Well, it's an awful pity that Roscommon are not going for kicks from farther out. John Kearns has been a very busy goalkeeper so far. Seamus Killoran for Roscommon. Really industrious midfield player. Back to Paul Early. Graham once again. Trying to set up the chance. Tony McManus finally taking the responsibility. And getting a beautiful point. The sides are level. Tony McManus' first point in the game, and it comes after 15.5 minutes play. Stephen O'Brien given the job of marking Tony McManus, with Tony Nation having switched across onto Tommy Lennon. Cork goalkeeper, I think, is doing his best to keep the ball away from the kickouts from John Newton and Seamus Killoran. Niall Cahalane with a wonderful fetch, gathered brilliantly. Davis. This is Coffey. Good support play by Cork, but not making much headway down in the attack so far. This is Colm O'Neill, and the linesman has given it as a Cork sideline ball, but I think Roscommon felt that it might well have been theirs with some justification. Linesman Tony Marr from Laois, just indicating the spot to Larry Tompkins. 17 minutes into the first half. Low scoring half so far, just 2 points apiece. Colm O'Neill. Mick Slocum calling for it at wing-back, fancying his chances. With some justification as well. It produces another good save. This is Danny Cullity, however. Larry Tompkins, who can always be depended upon. He's got a second point in the match, and Cork are back in front once again in what's proving to be a very hard-fought All-Ireland semi-final. By no way the one-way traffic people were predicting. Not such a good kick out once again. Shea Fahy. Slocum. Paul McGrath. Taking Gary Wynne completely out of it. Slocum once again up with the attack. He may have missed one a little bit earlier, having dropped it slack, but he's got one on this occasion, and Cork open up a 2-point gap. But he really is a very pacey half-back, Mick Slocum. As we've seen in this match, he just loves to go up and join the attack, taking that pass virtually on the end line from Paul McGrath and slotting it over the crossbar. Joey Connaughton. Niall Cahalane doing well in the individual tussle in the last few minutes against Paul Early. It's possibly because Early has drifted in towards a traditional full forward role once again. Paul McGrath. Colm O'Neill calling for it, so too Dave Barry. The Roscommon marking was very slack. And it comes down off the post to the waiting Paul McGrath, and he has put it over the bar. Well, the defence froze not once but on 2 occasions there. Whatever about that latter occasion when Paul McGrath got his point, there was no excuse for the poor marking just before that. It's a better kick out by the goalkeeper. It comes to Tony Davis. Being restrained, and the referee Damien Campbell wanting the free back 4 or 5 metres. One of the few bespectacled referees, I suppose, Damien Campbell, to make it into the very upper echelons of Gaelic football. That's Tompkins, shooting with the right, but on this particular occasion, spurning a rare opportunity for Larry in the last few minutes. John Newton breaks it down. Cormac McNeil picking out Vincent Glennon against Tony Davis. Glennon doing well, but then his control leaving him down somewhat. But Paul Early manages to get the left boot to it, but without very much authority. Here's Barry Coffey. Cullity, brought up in San Francisco. Coonahan into space towards Colm O'Neill. It comes off his knee. Barry Coffey. Glennon once again. That was a good adventurous run by Glennon just a moment ago into Tommy Lennon. Seamus Killoran out towards his partner John Newton. Belted high, ambitiously so, but never quite getting the calculations right. amazingly towards Shea Fahy. Trying to link up with Paddy Hayes, picked up instead by Pádraig McNeill. Killoran. Not the most prudent ball. Paddy Hayes trying to take the pass down. This is Junior McManus having to come well back into midfield to get more into the action. Taking the return from Tommy Lennon. Tony McManus calling for it inside. Still Junior. Tackled by Stephen O'Brien, breaks out towards Tony McManus. Jersey was being pulled by Conor Coonahan, and that's going to be a free in for Roscommon. Well, I'm sure they're still going to be talking among the Roscommon fans about the goal that got away, the one that was disallowed. Tom Graham putting it over the bar. 2 points between the teams once again. Roscommon's approach work has been very positive. They've won a lot of ball from midfield. When it has come to the scoring stakes, they've scored 3 points, but 2 of those have come from frees. Paul McGrath, neat little flick outside to Paddy Hayes. In his stride, he's put it over the bar. Cork now beginning to play with a bit more expression. Well, Roscommon trailed by 6 points to 3, I remember as well, against Galway at one stage in the first half, but came back and made a complete recovery before half-time. And one just wonders whether or not they can do it now in the All-Ireland semi-final. This was flicked outside brilliantly by Paul McGrath to Paddy Hayes. Player was out of football for over a season with a nasty knee injury, and he's made a very good recovery. Joey Connaughton. Aimed towards Paul early. But on this occasion, referee penalises Niall Cahalane, claiming there was a push on Paul early. And Tommy Graham is going to take it once again. Graham, who played with Melbourne in Australian rules over the last couple of years, former very promising minor. Low inside, restrained by Mick Slocum. Belted into the middle to Danny Cullity. Lofted forward towards Dave Barry. Breaks down to Shea Fahy. Players immediately responding, running intelligently inside. But the pass wasn't a particularly good one. Here's Pat Doorey. Graham to Tony McManus. So much as always expected of Tony McManus, but not winning the sideline ball. Here's Barry Coffey. Cork winning by 6 points to 3 as it breaks down to the waiting Des Newton. Paddy Hayes did well to hold on to that pass. Colm O'Neill. Angled well, lofted beautifully, pointed with a crisp, confident strike by Colm O'Neill, his second point of the first half. Well, Colm O'Neill here scored something like 3 goals and a point against Roscommon in an All-Ireland minors semi-final back in 1981. Looks very pleased with himself now. Dave Barry. Pat Doorey just touching it away for Des Newton to come in for Roscommon. Pursued all the way by Colm O'Neill. Paul Hickey trying to provide some assistance. Newton. Here's Pat Doorey. Tony Nation cutting it out, but then the foul committed, and it's going to be a free for Cork. Referee Damien Campbell right up with the play. Referee this year's Ulster football final. Cahalane taking the free quickly to Danny Culleton. Taking the return. Used to be a half-back, of course. Joey Connaughton. Well, he was being pushed and punched. Although in fairness the game has been played in a very good spirit so far, and the referee's task has been relatively easy. Joey Connaughton instructed to take the kick from the ground. Now Cahalane. An ambitious kick inside towards Shea Fahy. Belted loose by Des Newton. Vincent Glennon. Gary Wynne tidying up at the back for Roscommon. Playing neat football out of defence. But they need to get some momentum going in the attack. Tony Nation just losing his way. Supported, however, by Stephen O'Brien. Sun in the eyes of the defenders and forwards. It's Gary Wynne who reacts smartest. John Newton, see if he pushed in the back. Corrick McNeil. Again trying to restrain Danny Cullity and get some leeway. Tommy Lennon looking for latitude. Not allowed very much of it by Tony Nation, but getting in the kick nonetheless, and the point. Tommy Lennon has kicked his first point of this All-Ireland football semi-final, and it's 7 points to 4. Well, there was a restraining arm that time by Tommy Lennon on Tony Nation before he got in the kick, but the score has been allowed to count. Prodded back here to Mick Slocum. Seamus Killoran lets it slip by. This is Gary Wynne once again, who's had a very good first half. John Newton. Well, there's nobody up there. A real hit and hope one. Paul McGrath trying to hold on to the pass. From Gary Wynne it reaches Paul Early. 5 minutes remaining in the first half. Tony McManus. Held, taken down by Stephen O'Brien. 3 in for Roscommon. And there's just that goal which Tony McManus scored, but which was disallowed for over-carrying between the teams at the moment. Tony to take the free himself. Playing in his 5th All-Ireland football semi-final. He's cut back the deficit to just 2 points. Michael McCarthy is just about to be brought in by Cork at corner forward. And just checking to see who has been taken off. It's Barry Coffey who is going off. The long, lonely journey towards the dressing room, well, not quite the dressing room, the dugout, awaiting Barry Coffey, and Michael McCarthy from Skibbereen is in. It spills loose into the arms of Paul Early, up to Tony McManus. A real purposeful look about this Roscommon attack whenever Tony is in possession. Seamus Killoran making the overlap. Held off, however, well by Tony Davis. Support coming in. Stephen O'Brien. Space closed down to the premium. Tony Nation out towards Michael McCarthy. His first piece of the action is to be pushed in the back by Joey Connaughton. 7 points to 5. Mick Slocum. It really is non-stop action. Another aimless kick by Mick Slocum into space. There's nobody at the top of the right to hold on to the pass. Instead it reaches Tom Graham. Right-footed towards Tony McManus. Again very gamely, prepared to take the defender out of position, and Stephen O'Brien for the second time has restrained Tony McManus unfairly. The referee's had a word with him, but no name taken. A switch in the Cork team has seen Paul McGrath go left half forward in Barry Coffey's old spot. Michael McCarthy is now top of the left. Remember, it's 7 points to 5. Graham's kick, tails to the left. Roscommon's 4th wide of the first half. Cork have had 3 wides. Under 2 minutes remaining in the first half. John Newton to Tony McManus. Stephen O'Brien staying well away from McManus right now. And Tony McManus just can't avail of it. He protests that the kick was on target, but the referee not prepared to listen to those pleas. But that was interesting that last time when Tony McManus got possession. Stephen O'Brien stayed away from him, perhaps fearing that another push or shove or whatever could have resulted in a booking. Paul Early in the middle of the field right now. Tony McManus very firmly at full forward. Roscommon with just 2 forwards effectively in the full forward division. Tony McManus and Tommy Lennon. There they are. As it's fisted on by Tommy Lennon, but too far, too fast for Tony McManus. There will be much for the Cork mentors, without Billy Morgan of course, who is suspended for this tie, to consider from this first half. In particular, how to cope with the forward tactics of Roscommon. Vincent Glennon. Seamus Killoran. On to Glennon once again. Again it's menacing. Tony McManus is available. He doesn't give it to him. Goes for the point, and it's 7 points to 6. 4 of the Roscommon forwards now sharing in the scores. Tony McManus has got 2. Tommy Lennon got 1, and Vincent Glennon here with this attack. But look where Tony McManus was, right of picture, had the ball been played to him quickly. Instead, Glennon went on a solo effort and took the point. Paul Hickey unable to hold on to it. It's Mick Slocum raiding down that right wing once again. It's been a feature of the first half. Paddy Hayes inside towards Shea Fahy. Half blocked down, easy for Paul Staunton. Oh, it's blocked down by Colm O'Neill, and Des Newton comes to Roscommon's rescue. The goalkeeper having to be a little bit more cautious about his distribution. Cork continuing to apply the pressure, but just a little bit too much pressure by Shea Fahy on Pádraig McNeill, and that's going to be a Roscommon free out. A minute of injury time having been played, the referee terminating the first half. Roscommon, I think, will take a lot of heart from that first half. Cork started rather sluggishly for Munster and All-Ireland champions who were hot favourites, but they came more and more into the game, got a succession of good scores. But how Roscommon have responded well, the fans appreciating the team's efforts, and the Connacht champions very much in the hunt. Second half still to come, but at half time there's just a point between the teams. Cork 7, Roscommon 6.
Cork, on the other hand, they never really settled because of the Roscommon pressure on them. Johnny Kearns is kicking a lot of kick-outs out the wing, keeping away from Roscommon's 2 big men in the middle. And I feel that Roscommon are with a very good chance at this stage.
course, the one thing I suspected we were always going to see from Roscommon today was a real spirited battling performance, because people had been writing them off. And I'm sure in that dressing room before they came out here today, that's exactly what Marty McDermott would have been telling them.
Yeah, Roscommon are always a very, very difficult side to beat because they're so spirited. They never say die down there. They're the sort of team that you can never put away or never be sure that you're on top of until the final whistle goes. They're doing it very well today. Their backs are playing very well. They're sticking tight. They're not letting the Cork forwards dominate the play at all. And midfield again are doing well. I feel that if they can hold their heads and take a look up, win them in possession, and pick out Tony McManus, who's caused an awful lot of trouble inside, especially when he has the ball in possession. They seem to be fouling him quite a bit now, the last 3 or 4 times, and they're getting scores off those fouls.
But Jack O'Shea, we may be pleasantly surprised with the way Roscommon are doing so far, but of course Cork are leading the match. They are the All-Ireland champions, and I get the feeling that if Cork did click into gear, they could lash in 4 or 5 points all of a sudden, because they're very slick up front.
Yeah, they're very slick up front. I'm a bit surprised with the Cork tactics today, because like Cork are the All-Ireland champions, and even from their goalkeeper, they're looking to kick the ball out to their 2 wing forwards. It's funny tactic from a champion's point of view. I think they should take the game to Roscommon more. I'm very surprised with their attack. They're not keeping any width in their play, which they're very, very good at normally. And the more they keep it tight, the more Roscommon are going to frustrate them. And if Roscommon keep frustrating Cork into kicking wides, putting them under pressure shooting, Roscommon are in with a great chance.
Yeah. Val, you mentioned in the course of your summary Tony McManus, who certainly has been the kingpin for Roscommon up front. He's been the target man, and of course he got in for himself for a score that wasn't allowed, but it could have been a very crucial score in this game. What did you think of this? How about these steps here?
Well, it's one of those situations again that you have in Gaelic football, the interpretation of the 4-yard rule. It's basically down to the referee's decision on the day, and in maybe 99 out of 100 cases he'd get away with that.
Yeah.
But it's just happened this once, and Tony will be disappointed he didn't, because he took his chance very, very well, and he's very cool in a situation like that.
I suppose that is a problem, Jack, as we take another look at this again. It does vary from referee to referee, and it's hard for a referee to be going around the pitch counting steps all the time.
Yeah, I think it's very hard. I think Tony is very, very unfortunate there, because the first 2 or 3 steps he took with the ball, he was actually being challenged.
Yeah.
And he threw off the challenge. He just took 2 more steps, but he put the goal away magnificently.
He certainly did. I'd say there's many a footballer and hurler watching that who might have a little smile to themselves, and maybe even my own countyman Noel Lane, who's often galloped further to score goals that were allowed at Croke Park.
Yeah, well, I'm sure referees, they're in a hard situation and a thing like that. And but again, that's what he's there for. He has to make a decision straight away. I think Roscommon are very unfortunate. I think they had a good chance of a goal just before that as well. And if they had got that, I think Cork would really have been under pressure. But Roscommon are really in there, they have a great chance, and if they stick to their task.
All right, Jack, Val, thank you very much for the moment. Well, as you can probably hear and see in the background behind us here, the Artane Boys Band, as usual, are entertaining the crowds at half-time. There's been great entertainment for 35 minutes. But let's join the Artane Boys Band right now for a few of those moments.
Damien Campbell setting the second half in motion. Roscommon playing with a gentle breeze to their backs. Cork with their defenders having the sun into their eyes. Over the head of Joey Connaughton towards Michael McCarthy, a first half substitute for Cork, who at the first hint of trouble brought in a fresh man. There's a switch in the Cork team, I can tell you. Shea Fahy has been brought to midfield and Danny Cullity has gone in full forward. That's a switch they tried in the Munster final as well, to great effect. Conor Coonahan, all a little bit uncertain in the opening 40 seconds of the second half. There's Fahy now in midfield, tussling there with John Newton. Niall Cahalane to take the free. Towards Shea Fahy, it spills loose, however, to the waiting John Newton, blocked down by Larry Tompkins. Free kick for Cork. Larry to take it himself. Coming into this match, Larry Tompkins had played in 4 All-Ireland semi-finals and he'd scored 26 points. So it's 28 points now in All-Ireland semi-finals for him. As we await the first score of the second half. Paul Hickey, driven down towards Paul Early, but the commanding Niall Cahalane getting in the way, linking up with Conor Coonahan. always available at centre-half back, Coonahan. Quite an underrated player. Here's John Newton. Having enough time to settle and send the pass down towards Tommy Lennon. It spills away from his grasp, however. Back to Niall Cahalane. Shea Fahy. Good backup support play by Cork, by Shea Fahy in particular. Cullity tried to fend off Pat Dury. Dave Barry turning, having a little look up just to try and orchestrate this first Cork attack of the second half. Slocum. The champions ahead by a solitary point. Gary Wynne playing virtually as a sweeper behind the full back line and selling a dangerous pass. Des Newton nipping in, however. Some great commitment being shown by the Connacht champions, but occasionally playing themselves into a little bit of trouble. Dury finding Paul Early. Direct football down towards Tony McManus. Stephen O'Brien getting there, winning the first ball, coming down his way in the second half. Slocum selling a dummy. 45 metres out. Lobbed in towards Danny Cullity, a goal scorer against Kerry. Dury. Aimed towards Junior McManus. Over there. Tussling away with Conor Coonahan. And the referee didn't like the challenge. And I'm sure Junior McManus will say quite correctly, it seems to me, that the ball had run loose and Coonahan was over the ball in any case. Yet to score in this match, by the way, Junior McManus. And Pádraig McNeill in need of some attention. The medical officer, Tony Martin. Marty McDermott, the team manager, there in the background in his third year as manager of this side. Roscommon having a number of options available to them should McNeill have to leave the game, in particular Matthew Riley. So running repairs. And across on the far side we've got a sub warming up, and indeed it is Matthew Riley, who has the distinction of playing both with and against Roscommon in the Connacht champions. Once played for London against Roscommon in 1985, but McNeill, a stern, tough competitor, back on his feet, in with the action. Nearly 4 minutes gone in the second half. Sub goes back. Line ball taken by Shea Fahy. Free, rather, I should say. It reaches Dave Barry. Back to Shea Fahy, who took that free. Cullity striving to keep the ball in play, but to no avail. Big task awaiting Larry Tompkins now in the second half to rally his forces to get the fluent moving style going once again. Shea Fahy was pushing quite clearly on John Newton. Roscommon hoping, of course, that Newton and Kaloran will have a field day in midfield. Tommy Lennon tries to hold on to the pass. Instead it's Mick Slocum, who's really played an outstanding match for Cork. Newton lobbed forward towards Tony McManus, holds onto it with glue-like fingers, pushed. Tony to take the free himself. We saw Paul Early and Tommy Lennon in the Connacht final kick well from the hands. Tony's done it already in this match, but just as we say it, he has driven the ball outside the upright. It was a good opportunity of an equaliser. Can only play with the one football, and John Kearns patiently waiting to get the game underway once more. John Newton against Shea Fahy. Fahy does well, holds it with the left hand, then manages to take it with both hands up towards Danny Cullity. Cullity trying to break loose. Roscommon funneling back quickly. The support outside. Driven high and driven over the bar, and it's substitute Michael McCarthy who gets his first point since coming into the match. A goal scorer in the Munster final. He's opened up a 2-point gap. Michael McCarthy, I think, somewhat unlucky to be outside the Cork starting formation from the beginning. for this game, realising this is his big opportunity. Tony Davis against Vincent Glennon. Glennon does well. He's got support outside, instead carrying it forward inside himself. Good penetrating run, but he must deliver that final pass. Cork in something of a tizzy, leaving Glennon in, and he has missed a really good opening which he has created himself. A curious run really by Glennon, way out on the right hand side it started, and somehow the defence seemed to split open for him at the appropriate moment. Joey Connaughton. The Roscommon side looking for their first point of the second half, and they've got another opportunity with Connaughton going forward, kicking, and he's put it over the bar. It's a brilliant point for the wing-back Joey Connaughton. What Michael Slocum can do for Cork, Connaughton can do for Roscommon. 8 points to 7. The Roscommon fans very, very pleased with their side showing. Fine run and a fine point. Cork respond, by the way, by bringing Dave Barry into full forward and Shea Fahy back out to centre forward. But the amount of space that Connaughton was afforded will concern the Cork mentors, I'm sure. Slocum. What a good tie this has turned out to be. Colm O'Neill. Slocum once again. There's support from Shea Fahy. Belted, a real hit and hope one into space, the top of the left, and there's nobody in there waiting for it. Well, this Cork team has gone through a number of sticky patches in this match so far, and we're now just 9 minutes into the second half. The cheers you hear in the background are in the main Roscommon cheers, but Cork now responding like champions. This is Paul McGrath, incisively going forward, but going wide, being taken out wide by Des Newton. Not a good ball inside, but it's back by Dave Barry to McCarthy. Oh, brilliantly over the bar. A second point for substitute McCarthy. Well, from Paul McGrath's seemingly poor kick, Dave Barry did so well to play that into the path of McCarthy. Watch, it wasn't the best of plays by Paul McGrath. He half hit his shot. It got in loose. Watch for the run by Dave Barry, the little flick back. The defence were tightly marking, but McCarthy was left loose for once, yet again.